Hello, this is wmpyr. I was asked today about non-locking knives, so I'm going to go ahead and use a Swiss Army knife, which I thought would be good for this video because, in some countries you are not allowed to carry knives that can lock. Okay, so rather than talking about obvious things, common sense stuff, which some people may or may not have, let me go ahead and go into actual techniques that you guys can practice. So the first one is we're going to go ahead and lift up this screwdriver thing, and the way I lifted it up right now, it went this way, okay, and this is where it locks. It's not fully locked because I can just move it no problem, but it goes to this position in this direction. So does it matter if I hold it this way or if I flip it over and hold it this way? And you may not even have a choice. In a real life situation, you just grab it and use it. You just take it out and boom, and maybe that's all the time you get. You're lucky to even have this in your hand. So, it may not matter in that sense, but if you do have the time, I do believe it does matter. So if it locks this way, coming from the bottom to the top this way, what I like to do is when holding it, then I like to punch downwards, because if I punch downwards, then I'm going against the lock, right? So it's less likely to fold onto me. So go downwards, downwards. As I punch, I'm punching downwards, right? With, you guys can see it sticking out right there. Yeah, like that, okay? Now, if I hold it the other way, which now, that means it locked this way, right? Then this is for uppercut style where I want to go upwards with my strike. Okay, so just something for you guys to try out. So now let me go ahead and take out the big blade. Once again, this does not lock. There is no locking. Okay. So with this, the first thing that I recommend is rather than holding it like this, where your fingers wrap all the way around it in the front, because this is the pathway where it closes, is to actually go ahead and hold it like this, right? Mainly 3 fingers on this side, and then your thumb side like this way. And that way, if it does close, none of your fingers are in the pathway right here. So it doesn't matter, you're safe. So you could still get a pretty decent grip, and it closes, and it's okay if it accidentally closed. So try this grip out and actually work and try to cut things with it. Test it on cardboard and stuff like that and see how that works out for you. Are you dropping the knife, or just, there's probably only a certain amount of force that this grip can handle, but you might be surprised at how much you could actually do with this grip and keeping this area completely open and not getting a full wrap around. Okay, so the second thing that I want to recommend for you guys is to go ahead and put your pointer finger on the spine of the blade, okay? Or the thumb on the spine of the blade, right? So this way you know exactly where the spine of the blade is. And you might be going, well, even if I'm holding it without doing that, I know where the spine of the blade is. But in real life, when force is applied, there's chaos and all kinds of energy is involved, because real life situation is chaotic and dynamic. When that happens, easily you can get mixed up. Awkward angles are created, and that's when this thing starts to do this, and before you know it, it folds back on you, okay? But if you have your thumb on the spine, or if you have your finger on the spine, then you know exactly where the spine is. So because of that, I think you're more likely to know. And don't press it down hard, because you don't want that to happen, but you just place your finger there and you know exactly where it is, so you know which direction you need to be cutting. Okay, so the next thing is, it's the stabbing that can cause, because there's a lot of force involved with stabbing, that's what can cause awkward angles to be created. So even if you're stabbing in perfectly straight in and straight out, because you're dynamic, the opponent's dynamic, and the situation's dynamic, awkward angles can be created, and that's when it starts folding in on you, and that can happen. So one way around that is don't stab, right? I personally want that in my arsenal to be able to stab. So the other alternative is that when you stab, you're always going to the other direction from the spine, okay? And that way you're always going against the spine, so to speak, to make sure that it doesn't fold back in on you. So whatever direction you're stabbing, you're always immediately gonna go. So you're linking it with a slash, in other words, to the other direction. So if you get in the habit of that, so it's not just stabbing straight in, straight out, because like I said, even if you are doing that, because of the forces involved, that may not be safe enough. But if you stab and then you're adding one of these, so as I stab, I'm adding one of these. So now I'm going against the spine. And that's what's going to help me increase the chance of keeping it straight and not closing in on my finger. So if you include that, whatever direction you go in the opposite direction of the spine. So those are my recommendations. Thank you for watching and take care, folks.